Welcome to the Ask Carol Talk Show. It is September 6th, 2025. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. I really do appreciate you joining us today. Today, we are talking about credit and credit score. Yes, it's going to be a good one. So, what exactly is credit and credit score? What does that mean? We're going to find out. We are going to talk with our expert Tano Bogle. He is a certified analyst. He's a certified credit analyst, rather. And I'm sorry, let me read it again. So he's a certified credit analyst. He is certified in for over 7 years. He has helped many clients not only get their credit restored and ready for own ownership, also along with being guided with education and how to maintain it. Very important. He's also one of the owners of MWTB Apparel, a family-owned apparel brand built on providing custom apparels and branding for business owners, entrepreneurs, and individuals to empower them with our message driven apparel. Tanner, can you hear us? Welcome to the Ask Carol Talk Show.
Yes, I
There
can.
you are.
Can you guys hear me okay as well?
We can hear you clearly. Welcome again to the Ask Carol Talk Show. So good to see you.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you all for having me here, Carol. It's a great pleasure to share this platform with you and just pour into those that are on the call this afternoon or morning or evening, wherever you're checking it from. But it's such a delight to be here. You guys are in for a treat, this afternoon or today. And I'm hoping that, you may have brought a notepad to take some notes because I'm going to be sharing some information that, I've learned over the years. And I'm just so honored and privileged to, be able to share with you all this, well, today. I'll say that because I know there's people all around. So
Ask, Kenneth, thank you. Ask Carol Talk Show is global, so we are
awesome.
all over the world. So,
Awesome.
who exactly are you, and what exactly is credit score, credit rating? We are learning a lot today, guys. So, as Tanner says, get your pen and paper ready, takes notes, start to put information in the chat, all your questions in the chat, and we are going to get to them as we can. So, Tanner, tell us a little bit more about yourself and tell us what exactly is credit and credit score and how does it works?
Okay, awesome, man. That's a great question. So, a little bit about me. I was born and raised in Jamaica, Yalis, St. Thomas, Jamaica. I came to this United States.
Jamaica.
That's right. That's right. Came to the United States in 1998. I'm now uh, going on 40. Man, that's crazy, right? But I came here when I was 10 years old. Didn't know anything about credit. Didn't know anything about how to leverage credit, use credit, or what it even means. You know what I mean? And as I grew up over the years, now that I have a family, I'm married, three beautiful kids, wonderful wife, and it has brought us on a journey of discovery. And one of the reasons I would say a journey of discovery was a few years ago I was faced with a judgment due to an old account that I had from Rooms to Go a few years ago, and that account was charged off, and didn't know what a charge off was. But I woke up one morning with my account being $22,000 negative.
Ouch.
Me saying that to the audience, like who would have like completely lost it? Like put a one in the chat. If you woke up one morning, your account was, negative $10,000, $15,000, you would have just completely lost it. Put a one in the chat because I want to make sure that we can relate at least. You know what I mean? And so I woke up, logged into my bank account like I normally do, and was just checking to make sure everything is good, taking care of all of the necessities. And this was around the first of the month. So, we got, rent and mortgage and all of those necessary things, right? So just
I can
imagine
relate.
what was going through my mind at the time. And, so I woke up, discovered this, and I was like, wow. First of all, how did this happen? Why did it happen? And who's responsible? And those are some of the questions I had to ask to really, get into understanding what credit is and how did I even get here? Because when we went through school, we started getting credit cards in the mail early. When I get out of high school, started, college, we were getting these, the things in the mail. And we never really understood, okay, what does this all mean? How do I even go about getting a credit card? Or what is a credit card, right? And, we started getting these different things. And lo and behold, I got my first credit card. I started using it, didn't know that I had to pay it back because no one actually really taught us to do that, right? All you were taught is, yeah, you can go ahead and swipe it and buy what you want. But the educational piece behind it for you to actually start paying it back, how to pay it back, when to pay it back, none of those things were discussed. So I, started learning over the years. And like I said, lo and behold, man, I woke up one morning and that was my situation. And it took me on a journey to really understand the ins and out of the credit repair industry, the credit industry laws, the Fair Credit Reporting Act. One is called the FCRA. You might want to write that down. The FCRA, which is a Fair Credit Reporting Act, the FDCPA, which is a Fair Debt Collections Practices Act.
Can I
Right.
interrupt you, Tanya, for one
Sure.
second? Shay, if you're listening in, can you put that in the chat, please? Thank you. Go ahead, sir.
So there's a Fair Credit Reporting Act and there's a Fair Debt Collections Practices Act. Now, these are two acts that are passed by the government to give us, the consumers, the leverage and the power to, utilize as tools to empower us to, gain the necessary leverage when it comes down to our consumer credit profile. Okay.
Mhm.
So these laws were passed by Congress to give us the opportunity as consumers to not have our rights infringed on by debt collectors and by credit reporting agencies that may be doing things illegally, let's just say, right?
Mhm.
So when it comes down to credit, what credit is, it's a complete analysis of your overall, I would say your overall credibility over a period of time.
Okay.
Meaning that, they're like, for instance, that first credit card, that was called a line of credit. So they issued me a line of credit, I think it was like $1,500. And back then it was a Sears card. I know we don't have Sears anymore, right? But you had that one little cool Sears store card.
Yep.
And they said, listen, Tana, we're gonna trust you and give you $1,500 on this card as a line of credit. You can use it however you want in the store and online, of course, but we're going to see how you manage it. So there wasn't any kind of specific breakdown. So now I had to go do some digging to find out, okay, well, how do I utilize this thing? I know I can swipe it to purchase, right? But how do I pay? When do I pay? So
Mhm.
these acts are passed to to give us the knowledge and the insight, and most people don't know. So one of the places that you can go online if you want to jot this down as well, Miss Williams, is law.cornell.edu. So law.cornell.edu. And
Okay.
this is a law handbook that gives us the breakdowns of the necessary statutes and codes that governs the Fair Credit Reporting Act and also the Fair Debt Collections Practices Act. So there you go, perfect. So your credit score is comprised of 5 different compartments. Number one, your payment history. Number two, your credit utilization. And your utilization is basically how much of that, let's say $1,500 that they gave me, did I swipe, and by the statement closing date, I've paid back to maintain a good credit ratio, right? Because it's okay for you to go ahead and use the whole 1,500. However, by your statement closing date, and I'm saying that and repeating it because most of us are taught that we need to pay our bills down by what date?
First of the month.
Well, first, hey, there you go, Karen. That's awesome. Pay it by the first of the month. No, no, no. It's actually by the due date, is what we were taught, right? There you go. By the due date. See, so when you aren't giving the correct information, think about application where it falls. You see what I'm saying? Because if we aren't given the right information, then when we go to apply, all we're going to apply is just what we've been given. Understand? But most
Mhm.
people don't know there's 2 different dates. Your payment statement closing date and that's your due date. The statement closing date is what the creditors, the banks, the lenders, this is what they go by, because that's when all of the information that has been done over the course of a 30-day period on your credit cards, right? Whatever is accumulated over that 30-day period, that's when the statement closing date, that's when they're going to send that information. So Capital One, JC Penney, Bank of America, that's when they're going to send that information about your spending habits to the bureaus. So by the time your due date comes around, the bureaus have already gotten the information that, hey, no, this person is actually 50% overutilizing their credit and not, 65%. You see what I'm saying? Because the
Mhm.
information that's given to them is given on a different date than your due date. So by the time most of us go and pay our bills down on our due date, it's already been reported to the bureaus. So
Wow.
it's very, very it's a very important date to remember, especially when it comes down to our everyday livelihood, because our mortgage, right, is due by the statement closing date. Your car payment, same thing, credit card, right, student loans, these different things, everything that accumulates interest over time on a day-to-day basis is calculated throughout the duration and is reported on the statement closing date. But we were never
Got it.
taught to actually pay our stuff down by that date. Is the due date, right? So, and someone says it in comment, awesome, pay at least 1 day before statement. There you go. That's very important too, because it will give you the statement closing date. And majority of the time for us to find it, if we do get paper bills, which I know it's 2025, like Tano, who gets paper bills in the mail anymore? Right? But even on your electronic statement, it will show you a statement open and a statement closed date. Is going to be two different time frames, right? So on the close date is the date that you want to make sure, like the young lady said in the chat, you want to pay at least 1 to 2 days before that particular date. If you are still getting bills in the mail, it's going to be on page 1 in the top right-hand corner of your Capital One bill, your Bank of America bill. It will show you the statement open and closing date. And I'm telling you, it's going to be different from whatever your due date is. So it's very imperative that, we get out of the mindset of only paying by our due date and now looking to see, okay, what is Tano talking about the statement closing, and find it on your bill. And I'm telling you, one of the biggest difference that it makes is once you pay your bills down by that particular date, it lowers your utilization. So as I said, that's the second important thing. Now, the third is what makes up the credit score or your credit in itself is your age. Okay, so basically the ages, let's say Miss Carol opened a card back in 2009, we're in 2025, that's well over 10 years since you've opened that card, right? And
Mhm.
within that time frame, if you've kept that card revolving each month, you would have started to build what's called credit age, right? So if I opened up my first card in 2023, that means I've only built 2 years worth of history. Like I've just started building credit, and I opened my first card. I started using it in 2023 till 23 till now. That's only 2 years. You've opened it in your first card. You started building in 2009. That's well over 10 plus years of history. So these are things that work hand in hand along with your payment history utilization. You also want to build credit age, is the longevity of how long you've been building credit, right? The fourth thing is your well, it's two things. Your basically your inquiries, which is how many times you're going around and shopping for credit. So you go to the car lot, and most people don't realize, when you go in to buy or purchase a vehicle, the worst thing that you can do is just walk on the lot, just willy-nilly, like, yeah, I'm coming today to get a car. Why is that, Tano? Because you don't know what you are pre-qualified for. It's better going in knowing that, okay, I'm already at such and such. I've already connected with, the banking institution. I got the funding in my pocket. So now I have the leverage to go in now and speak my demands instead of me going in, just, okay, well, I'm here to buy a car. They're going to pull your credit and they're going to run you and shop you all around the place. And for one vehicle, you might walk out with 15 inquiries.
Wow.
So your inquiries they're the lowest, so it's like 10 points, on your credit, but your credit profile in itself. But sometimes you might go different places and you're shopping for a car here and you're shopping for a car there. They didn't have the one that you want, and now you've accumulated numerous amounts of inquiries, and to the banks and lenders, whenever they decide that they want to pre-approve you for something, if they see that you're shopping all over the place, that can work against you as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then, finally, so you have your payment history, your credit card utilization, your credit age, your inquiries, and then now the different variations of credit. So you have your revolving. You also have you have revolving credit. Then you also have man, the word is slipping me right now. You have the revolving, and then you also have like what would we call it? Because there's a specific name, and I'm drawing a blank as we're
You're doing
speaking.
great. We're learning a lot.
Um,
Yes.
so you have your revolving, and then you also have your extended credit as well, right? So both in which go hand in hand when it comes down to your credit profile, because a lot of times whenever lenders go to pull your information up, they're not looking for just your credit score. They're seeing, okay, what has Miss Sandy been doing over the last 2 years, right? Your variations of credit. There we go, perfect. Right. What have you been doing over the last 2-3 years? Why we would now want to do business with you? How is your credibility lined up against the other person? And that's what they look at: your overall credit profile, your utilization, your history, your credit age, how many times you were shopping, inquiries, so on and so forth. And these are the different things that they look at. These are what we call the 5 credit factors, which makes up an actual credit score.
Very good. The 5 credit factors. And you just taught me something that I never knew. Tanner, this is really good information. We're talking about credit utilization, and what is your credit score and what does that mean? So, Tanner, great stuff here. So we're gonna get into some questions. So here's my question for you. Is it better to pay off debt or keep some credit active going?
Great question. And it's a two-part, because obviously it depends on the situation, right? So should I keep debt open or in revolving? And it all,
Mhm.
like I said, it all depends on the situation. Let's say, for instance, whenever you're looking to go purchase a home, the number one thing that they're going to look at is your debt to income ratio,
Mhm.
right? So should you have things open? Sure. However, you want to monitor how much of that revolving debt you are keeping, right? So let's say, for instance, if you have a total of 5 credit cards, one of the rule of thumb that we teach our clients is you want to ensure that overall cumulative of all 5 of those credit cards, when it's all said and done, you want to keep your balance at least below 30%. That's like one of the thresholds. The magic number, however, is 10%. So if
10%.
overall over all of your 5 cards you have $5,000, you want to keep an open line revolving of at least $500, which is about 10% of that overall balance. So in that case, like I said, it's a situation in a case by case basis. If it is looking at like, okay, well, I'm going to purchase a home, you want to make sure that your debt to income is lowest as possible, because that's going to produce, a better result as far as, qualifications for a mortgage, or, going through the underwriting process. They're going to look at all of
Mhm.
those things as opposed to your income. So
Mhm.
keeping debt, it's all relative and it's based on the situation, but it's not necessarily a bad thing, because you do want to keep your credit revolving, meaning that when you pay off credit cards, the worst thing you can do is just pay them off and close them. Like, listen, I don't want to deal with them anymore. Why? Why should I not close them? Because those factors that I just talked about, if you close a credit card that you've had for 5 years, you're gonna lose all of that history. You're gonna lose
Mhm.
all of the age. You see what I'm saying? And then it
Yes.
negatively impacts your credit score. Your credit score is gonna drop because now you've lost an entire account and you've lost age with it as well. So, like I said, it's gonna be on a case by case basis.
Mhm.
If it is, you want to keep the revolving debt as a minimum as possible.
Awesome. Good, good. Very good stuff. Guys, start putting your questions in the chat for Tana. We're talking about credit rating, credit score. And here's another question for you.
Mhm.
What are some common mistakes people make trying to fix their own credit?
Now you're not gonna put me on the spot like that, Miss Carol.
We're talking to the expert here.
Some of the biggest mistakes that people may make when they say, you know what, I'm not gonna go pay someone to fix this for me. I'm gonna go ahead and do it myself, right?
Mhm.
One of the biggest mistakes that most people make is the response. So whenever you start a dispute process, you're going to send out correspondence to the main three bureaus or also to that actual company, right? So, i.e., let's say Capital One. You're disputing the fact that they said, well, hold on June 25, 2025, you've made a late payment. No, I didn't. I need you to be able to validate that or ensure that you're reporting this information about me correctly. So I'm going to type up a letter, I'm going to send it off, right? Or let's say in the instance, there's a debt collector that sent you a letter to your home disguised because they're not going to say on most cases, hey, this is the debt collector from da 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 on the outside of the letter. So here's a big mistake that most people don't do. They don't open their mail,
Mm.
right? Because here's the thing. Most of these debt collectors, they're preying on our ignorance of not
Mhm.
seeing, okay, what's coming to me, right? Or why is this letter even coming to me? Most people, they get the letter and they're like, yeah, nah, I'm not gonna bother, and it goes in the trash. However, based upon the Fair Credit Reporting Act, these debt collectors, or let's say these institutions, they're not able to report certain things on your credit without notifying you first.
Mhm.
Well, how did they notify me? Well, they wrote you a letter. Did you
Yes.
open it? No. Well, in that letter, they're going to specifically state you have XYZ date to respond. And primarily, that's a 30-day period they give you based upon their accusations or assumptions. Someone said in the comments, the Dunning letters. Absolutely, right? So you need to open your mail. I know we're accustomed to just tossing things to the side if we don't see AT&T on the front or Discover on the front. No, these letters, they do come in these envelopes that they're just like regular envelope until you open it and you see, oh, okay, well, this is this person. You see what I'm saying? So one of the
Yes.
biggest mistakes, we're not complicit to opening the mail that are sent to us, especially if we are looking to, go into the process of, okay, I'm going to go ahead and fix my credit myself. So that I would say is a big thing. And then also not understanding the laws that are given to us as consumers to protect our rights.
Awesome. Good, good answer. Let's go to Shay. Shay, are we seeing any questions in the chat for Tana?
We
Any
currently do
questions or
not have any.
comments?
We currently do not, but I think everybody's just listening and learning.
Yes.
Um, but yeah, currently we don't have any questions for him right now.
Awesome.
Awesome. We're getting good information, guys. Please put questions or concerns or comments in the chat. But Tana, here's another question for you. Does paying off your phone bill improves your credit?
Your phone bill?
Uh-huh.
Well, how can you pay off your phone bill? Are
Well,
you
well,
Go ahead.
consistently paying your phone bill monthly, does that improve your credit? Is that reported?
It's not necessarily a thing that is reported, like,
Okay.
because think about it. Unless, they have these applications now with like Experian. There's a thing called Experian Boost, right?
Mhm.
Where you can report your monthly bills, but those do not make up a big aggregate enough to impact your credit score based upon your payments. Now,
Got it.
um, most people, because if you have a phone and you're leasing the phone, let's say through T-Mobile, Verizon, or
Mhm.
whatever, when you do pay it off, that's not an actual installment that is reported to most credit bureaus unless unless you had that phone and you just completely went negligent and you did not pay it, then now there it can be a negative impact. But as far as paying it off positively, no, it doesn't reflect on your credit score.
Got it. Here's another question for you, sir. What
Mhm.
is worse, maxing out your credit card or missing a payment?
Woo, great
I guess both
question.
of them are pretty bad,
Great.
huh?
Absolutely, right? Yeah, that's a great question. However, I think the bigger of the two is missing a payment. Why? Because your payment history is 35% of your overall credit score.
Hmm.
Your credit utilization is 30%. So just those two key factors alone is 65% of our overall credit score. So it's a double whammy when you're late on your payment and you're also over the limit. Oh yeah, you're definitely
Sammy D, can you mute, please? Thank you, sir. Go ahead.
yeah. So what, like I said, if you're late and you're also over the limit, yeah, that's like a double whammy. You know? Um,
Thank you. Thank you. And what advice, Tana, would you give for someone who is very ashamed and they're stuck because they have bad credit? What advice would you
um,
give that person?
listen, if I can come back from a 427 to get to a point where I was able to purchase my first home in 2023, trust me, you are not in a place that you can't recover from. And that's why we tell our clients, listen, it doesn't matter where you are. All that matters is what we're going to do together with the correct team in place, the correct game plan, and the correct follow through that you can get to, whatever score or, profile you desire. Because again, it's not necessarily about the credit score, but it's also what's comprised over those 5 credit factors in your profile. Underwriters or banks don't necessarily take into account, how high your credit score is, because you can have, and just true example, you can have a 700 credit with no history at all. And that's like
Hmm.
a person that, has brand new credit. They're just, getting a lease on life. And you can still get denied with a 700 credit score. So remember, it's not necessarily about the number or what the score is. What's more is the actual 5 factors that make up your credit profile. So if you are at a place where your credit score is not the greatest, I just want to let you know it doesn't reflect on your character, or it doesn't reflect on who you are, right?
Hmm. So
Some
don't
of
be
us,
ashamed.
yeah, don't be
Fix it.
ashamed.
Come to
Some of
you and
us,
you'll
yeah,
help to fix it.
some of us have made mistakes, and we've made mistakes in the past. All that matters is, okay, what are we going to do now moving forward to help you to get to the next level? And those are
Hmm.
some of the things that we do for our clients, that we let them know, listen, you don't have to be ashamed. We've all been there, done that, probably once, twice, three times, right? But with the right education, with the
Absolutely.
right team, it can be a thing of the past. And what's
Hmm.
important is, once we help you to get there, we're going to provide you also with the knowledge on how to maintain it, because it's one thing to
Hmm.
get to a 700, but if you don't know the necessary tools and strategies on how to maintain it, you'll be back to that point within a blink of an eye.
Hmm.
So
Absolutely. So you mentioned earlier about a credit score in the 400s. That's
uh-huh,
pretty low, isn't it? But what
absolutely.
exactly can you achieve with a credit score in the 400s? Can you start a starter home? Can you get a used car? What can you get for?
Well, with the 400, honestly speaking, it will be very hard. If you are
Mhm,
going to get a used car, the place where you can start is basically like a buy here, pay here institution. And depending on the interest rate and what they offer to you, you can start to build from there. Because one of the things that they can do, if you are paying on time, you can
mhm,
also reach out to that institution. Hey, can you report these on-time payments to my credit to help me out? That's something that they can facilitate for you, which would help greatly, especially since that you're there buying a vehicle through them. You know what I mean? And in those cases, one of the biggest hits that you're going to get having a credit score that bad is you're going to get a ridiculously high interest rate.
mhm.
Anything above like 29.99%.
Oh, that
Yeah,
is high.
it's very high.
Yeah.
So, and
And
then
and Here's the opposite. So that's the 400 credit score. I have a credit score, let's say, of 800. What can I get? Can I buy the world with that?
By the way, I love it. I love it. With an 800 credit score, I mean, obviously, it's going to open up so much doors of opportunity. However, it's not one thing about having an 800 credit score, but
Mhm.
it's all about how you leverage that 800 credit score, right?
Beautiful.
Most people listen. I have my mother. I love her, right? She has excellent credit,
Mhm.
but does not know how to leverage it because we weren't taught. You see what I'm saying? So it's
Yes.
one thing to sit down and have a 700 and an 850 and it looks great, but if you're not leveraging that to build, wealth and these things long term, then all you have is just a score and all you have is just a three-digit number. You know what I mean?
Mhm. Mhm.
Because there's so many different avenues that you can take that credit score and go down to leverage to have long term wealth built because it opens up. I mean, if you're talking about getting access to funding, right, at a very low interest rate, then taking that funding and investing in real estate or investing in crypto, and then
Mhm.
now with the gains that you've got from real estate, you go ahead and pay that loan or that line of credit off because you're getting it at 0% interest rate anyway, right? And most times when you have a 750 800 credit score, you can do business with these banks that they'll give
Mhm.
you a 1 year or a year and a half with no interest at all.
Mhm.
So now you
Mhm.
have a 12-month or 18-month interest free period that you can leverage that amount of money to create more income to then go back and pay it off, and then you rinse and repeat. You see what I'm saying?
Rinse and repeat.
But
Uh-huh.
if you're at a point where you're not able to leverage your credit like that, we can help you to get there. And that's these are some of the programs that we offer here with our amazing platform. And we'll teach you how to build your credit profile to get to that point if you do desire.
Beautiful. Excellent. And guys, again, start putting more information in the chat. We're going to go to Shay in a minute. But Tanya, can you put your information also in the chat? If
Absolutely.
anyone need to see Tanya, he is the credit expert. If you're struggling with your credit, if you're ashamed to even seek help, he is the expert guy. He's the guy for you. He will help you. He's located in Palm Bay, Florida. So, Tana, do you work outside of Florida? Do you have clients outside of Florida?
Absolutely. We work in all 50 states. And
Okay.
they can reach out, schedule a consultation with us. They can email me directly. I'm going to provide the link to our actual platform. So if someone wants to get started with us, they can fill out the information. We'll reach out to them. Let's go. Um, and basically set up a consultation to see exactly where they're at the moment, and then
Mm-hmm.
what we can do to help them or help guide them depending on their goals. So if their goals is to purchase a home within the next 6 months to a year, I like to be very realistic. Okay, well, if you are planning on purchasing a home over these next 6 months, um, what are some of the things that you're willing to do, right, to actually make that goal or that dream a reality? And we're going to talk about it, right? We're going to talk about some things not to do over that time that we start to work, because life does happen and we understand that, you know what I mean? But,
So,
it's okay. Go ahead.
what is the time frame from consultation to actually fixing your credit? What is that time frame looks like?
It all depends. It's all situational based, and
Okay.
but on average, we say anywhere between 4 to 6 to maybe 7 months, and it's all
Okay.
depending on the client's credit profile, because some clients come to us, all they have is some charge offs, some collections, some late payments here and there, right? Typical 4 to 6 month time frame. Some may come to us and they have, student loans, they have a bankruptcy, they have repossessions. Those may take a little bit more time. The reason why is if you have like a repossession or bankruptcy, we're going to have to go through the court system. And a
Mhm.
lot of times when you're corresponding with the court system, they may take, a lot more time than we're just going directly back and forth to the credit bureaus. So it all depends on the situation, but majority of the time, it's anywhere between 4, maybe 6 months at most,
Mhm.
depending on the severity of the actual client's credit profile. If they don't have a repossession, if they don't have a bankruptcy, if they don't have, any kind of, crazy amount of student loans, then ideally it will be around that 4 to 6 month period.
Awesome. Good information. We're on the Ask Carol Talk Show and we're talking to Tana. We're talking about credit. So, Shay, let's pull some questions or comments from our chat.
We currently still have no questions.
No questions. We are learning a lot. Do we
They're
have any
learning.
comments?
No comments. Everybody is paying attention.
Everyone is paying attention. So, Tanner, can you tell me or tell us a personal story or a client success story where someone turned their credit around? And, what
Absolutely.
did that look like?
Absolutely. I mean, there's numerous amounts of stories that we've helped to create and foster over the years. But I do remember a client of mine that she came to us, and it's just funny. It just happened a few days ago, as a matter of fact. She came to us, and the goal was for her to purchase a home. And at the time, she was looking to purchase a home in Miami. And
Hmm.
after speaking with her and understanding her goals, so on and so forth, I mean, I won't want to say I convinced her, but I just, I just simply shared some of the benefits of looking in this particular area, in the Palm Bay area, because I moved from Hollywood to Palm Bay, and I can tell you it's like night and day. You know what I mean? So as she was searching and looking to purchase, I just shared some of the benefits, and she's like, oh man, I gotta come take a look. So even before we went down the road of helping, with her credit, so on and so forth, she came up here, took a look around the area, so on and so forth. And she was like, "Look, I'm going to commit to doing this." She was
Hmm.
referred to me by a realtor, of a client that I assisted in the past, and started in the mid 500s. I think it was like 550s. One of her score were in the 600s. And just so you guys know, right? So one thing with the state of Florida, when you are looking to purchase a home, from time to time, depending on the year, they come out with what's called the Hometown Heroes program. Are you guys familiar?
Hometown Heroes Program. Okay.
Hometown Heroes. So if you're like, a firefighter, a veteran, teacher, and different things like that, you can qualify for up to $35,000 towards your down payment or closing costs. And it's a government funded program. It is a loan. I let people know, look, they're not giving you no free money, okay? Like that doesn't happen.
Gotta
Um,
pay it back.
gotta pay it back some way, right? But the great thing is, she started the process with me. I think this was back in late December, and she just closed on her home. Um, Today is what, Saturday? She just closed on her home on Friday of last week. So I, checked my phone early Friday morning. I got a text message, and as a matter of fact, I just want to read it, to you, because these are some of the things that we don't really brag or speak about or
We
anything
love
like
a
that.
success story.
Yeah, but it's amazing to see her journey. So long story short, she started in the mid 500s. Within a 4 to 5 month period of time, we were able to work together closely with her, got her score well over 650, because one of the things about the Hometown Heroes program is you have to be at minimum mid score a 640 to even qualify.
Mhm. Okay.
So you have to be at a 640 credit score. So, she wrote, "Good morning, Tano. I hope you and your family are well. I wanted to update you that today I will be closing on my home. It has
Yes.
been a long, unpredictable journey getting here. However, I do not want to miss thanking you for being the first stepping stone to this amazing accomplishment. May God continue to bless you and your family, and do not be a stranger." So,
That's a great
yeah,
success story.
absolutely. So trust me, and there's numerous stories like these that
Mhm.
we've been able to be a part of our amazing company A Plus Credit Report. Um And man, it's amazing to see where we can take someone from 400s, 500s, it doesn't matter. But as long
Mhm.
as you're willing to put in the work, because it's not an easy journey, even for her. I remember there was a time where she got discouraged, and I had to have that one-on-one, heart-to-heart conversation with her, letting her know, like, look, it's okay to, experience these setbacks. As a matter of fact, one of the things that happened is she had an account that was deleted off of her credit report. And let me just let everybody know that's listening, because these instances do happen, right?
Mhm.
She had an account that was deleted off of her credit, but another debt buyer repurchased it. They sent her the letter. She was out of town. And because she did not respond in time, they were able to place that account on her credit profile.
Interesting. Let's
So,
let's go into details about that, Tanner. Ken, how does it work when someone purchased an old debt from a company? How does that work? Is that even legit?
um, it's absolutely legitimate. But
Okay.
here's the thing, and again, the Fair Credit Reporting Act, protects us as consumers, because there's 15 USC 1681I, right? It's called permissible purpose. So what that law basically states, just as what I was saying earlier, they have to notify you first. Where we
Hmm.
drop the ball as individuals, we don't open our letters. The letter that they sent us is the notification. So the way it all works is this: I got an account with Capital One. I fell on hard times. Life happened, and that $500 card end up charging off, which means they now, because I wasn't able to pay it back. Well, I won't say five. Let's say $1,000 card, right? Because it has to be over $600 for them to legally charge it off. So I stopped paying. It went 120 days or more of non-payment.
Wow.
Once it gets to that status, the company can legally charge that account off. What does a charge off means? It means that that company now is going to submit an actual tax break, right, to the IRS, and then be issued a credit back from the United States Treasury.
Hmm.
So on the report on the file, it would say charge off profit, write off loss. So meaning that they're going to write that loss off on their company's taxes at the end of the year. However,
Hmm.
they're going to be reimbursed. So
Okay.
because they wrote it off as a loss does not mean or constitute that they're losing money. Like, these companies don't lose money like that. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, like
Yes.
they're never gonna
They're
lose
not
like
in the
that. So
business to lose money.
absolutely. So they're going to write it off on their books. They're going to submit it to the IRS, and the Treasury is going to reissue whatever the loss amount is, right? It's like, your P&L, your profit and loss statement, right?
Mhm.
They're going to show on their books, okay, well, I wrote off, $970 worth of, Carol's, Capital One card. So now I'm going to send that to the IRS on my books, and they're going to reimburse me, right? Because I'm not going to take the loss like that. After that is done, now what they're gonna do is the game that comes in. They're gonna now take that debt that's off of their books, and they're gonna sell it to the highest bidder, which is a debt buyer, right?
Wow. Hmm.
However, here's the kicker: whenever they sell these debts to these debt buyers, which are legal companies that are out here, some of them act illegally, but they're actual companies that are formulated and put together. But when they buy these debts, they're buying them in bulk. So they're not going to see Shay Williams. They're not going to see Shirley Bell. They're not going to see only Carol. They're going to buy a whole stack of it, right? And it's just certain information, because by law, they can't give out everything. So what
Hmm.
they end up doing is what we call skip tracing. So they're going to call
Skip
Carol
tracing.
skip tracing. They're going to call
Okay.
Carol's house. They're going to call Carol aunt. They're going to call anyone that has the last name Samuels that's associated with you to find out, is this person Carol actually live at this
Oh my
address?
goodness. And this
Is
is perfectly legitimate.
Yeah. So, they're gonna
Interesting.
they're gonna call to find, can we get in contact with the Carol name and number that we have on that file. I don't have everything that I need, So that's what I'm trying to identify. So here's the thing. Whenever you
Mhm.
pick up the phone, someone calls, yeah, this is such and such caller, and just so you know, this call may be monitored and recorded. That's the red flag right there, right?
Yes.
However, with most people, they start to, just divulge information. Oh yeah, this is Carol. How may I help you? Oh yeah, I did have that credit card. Now you're what we call restarting the debt clock. So after a certain period of time, depending on your state, certain states, it's 5 years, what's called a statute of limitations, meaning that
Mhm.
after that time, these companies can no longer collect on that particular debt. In some states, you may be 7 years, some states may be 3 years. So a lot of these companies, they buy these bulk debts closer to that time because they know they can trap majority of us. And all it takes is
Wow.
one recorded conversation of you saying, yes, this is me. So now you've identified with the record that they have, right? And the
Mhm.
longer you stay on the phone with them, is now like they said, anything that you say can and will be used against you in the court of law, right?
But here's the thing, Tano. Anyone could be Carol Samuels. Anyone could be a Tano Bogle. How do they know that and take action against you without verifying your social security number or any other credentials?
And that's a great question. And a lot of the information that they are given in these bulk debts, it ties to you some way, shape, or form. But like I said, that's
Mm.
why they do the skip tracing to try to identify. Now, and it's crazy to say this, and I know this call is being recorded, right? But
You're live on the Ask Carol Talk Show,
right,
and we don't judge on the Ask Carol Talk Show. We don't judge at all. You're in
a
a
lot of
safe place.
I got you, but a lot of these companies are intertwined with the different organizations. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Because when they know that, okay, well, I'm losing out on time. One of the things that they try to do in most cases is try to move that account to what we call a default judgment, right?
Mhm.
And that's one of the situations that happened with me because they never sent me a letter. I was not given due process, which means that, okay, well, if this debt is legally mine, you're
Mhm.
supposed to serve me paperwork, right? I'm supposed to sign for that paperwork acknowledging that debt before you can move to the point of, a default judgment where you can garnish my account because that's what they
Mhm.
did. When I woke up and I was $22,000 negative, I was like, what? I never signed for nothing. I never spoke to nobody. Nothing came to the house. And my bank, agreed to this situation without even notifying me. I felt like, the clothes was just stripped right off of my back and everything.
Yeah.
I was just completely exposed. And it took me going down that journey to understand that due process wasn't given to me. I was not able to identify with whatever they were saying. But
Mhm.
again, there's what we call court runners. They'll pay people to go into the court records and
Mhm.
pull certain things about you to come and link you to certain things so now they can get enough information to then go and file with the clerk of courts or with the courthouse to issue a default judgment against you. And because majority of us, we get scared, like, oh my gosh, I'm being sued. I don't know what to
Right.
do. And we start to panic, right?
Mhm.
Not
Mhm.
knowing that you have certain laws in place that they violated. And, we can, fight back. And that's where the Fair Credit
Mhm.
Reporting Act comes in. And, a partner of mine here says, that there's a script that she dropped in here, right? Of some of the things that you can actually say when they call you. Because if they can't issue you whatever they're asking for in writing,
Yes,
then
tell us about that. What are some of the things that they ask you when they call, and what should you
so
say?
right. So one of the main ways that I can identify a lot of times when they're call, okay, so they'll call you on the phone. If you pick up and then you hear a boop sound,
Mhm.
that means number one, they're in a call center somewhere, right? And all they're gonna ask you, is this Carol Samuels?
No, it's not. My name is Mary Jane. This is the Ask Carol Talk Show. Real conversations, real impact.
That's right. So if I'm asking, is this Carol Samuels? What am I trying to do? I'm trying to identify and connect you with what I have in front of me because I don't have everything about you. So I need to connect as much data or information about you to what piece of paperwork I've been sold. Understand? So the reason for my call today, I'm calling because you had an account with JC Penney that was closing charge off, and we're attempting to collect the debt. Anything that you say can and will be held against you. What would be your response?
Not me.
Not
Goodbye.
you. Okay, so here's a good tactic that a friend of mine posted in the chat. Right, I'm driving right now. Please send all information to the address you have on file. And one of the things that they'll ask you, as she stated, they'll ask you to verify your address.
Mhm.
Because they're very slick, right? Because remember,
Mhm.
they don't have all of the concrete information. They're just trying
Correct.
to get as much out of you
Fishing. Uh-huh.
on that call. She said, let them know you don't share your personal information to anyone who called due to security reasons and put you on the do not call list moving forward. Now, that's a big, big trap for a lot of these debt collectors because if you request to be placed on a do not call list and now they call you or they reach out to you um, at a later point, you can legally sue them for damages.
Mhm. Good stuff. Good information. Before we go back to the chat, scamming, it's a big thing now, not only in the United States, but all over the world. How do
Yes.
you protect your personal information, your social security number, your credit profile? What advice would you give us on that?
One of the things that I recommend to most of our clients, well, we tell them to utilize is a credit monitoring software system, or
Okay.
you can also enroll in a program through the actual bureaus where you can lock and unlock your credit as well.
Hmm.
So having a credit monitoring service will also give you the upper hand when things are close to being reported so that you can challenge these things prior to having like my score IQ, which is one of the service partners providers that we use for our clients because it gives us the actual FICO score. I know we have a few more minutes, but there's a difference between the FICO score and then also your Vantage score. Most people
Okay, tell us
nowadays
about that.
yeah, most people nowadays have what's called Credit Karma, right? So they go
Hmm.
on Credit Karma and they pull up their credit profile and they'll see, oh yeah, TransUnion says I'm a 700. Oh, let's go, right? And they're excited. But when you pull the FICO scores, TransUnion is saying, no, you're at a 558. You're like, hold on, how come the disparity, is so
Hmm.
large, right? And the reason why is with Credit Karma, they're using a Vantage scoring system where a lot of the information that is being offered are different information from what FICO uses. Understand? So with your
Hmm.
FICO scores, you're getting the actual raw scores that the lenders use, the underwriters use, mortgages, right? When you go to, purchase a car, they use your FICO. They're not going to use the Vantage scoring system because it doesn't offer the caliber of information that they need to make a just determination to
Hmm.
offer or extend you credit. So you do
Awesome.
have both of those, but one of the ways you can protect yourself as you're asking, along with the credit monitoring, you also get a $1 million coverage for in the case of identity theft with the
Hmm.
company that we're in partnership with, and this is provided to you through the actual program. So if for any reason something was to happen, you're covered up to $1 million. And they'll work with you in order to regain your identity if for reason any reason your identity was stolen or infringed upon.
Beautiful,
So I
beautiful. This
recommend it,
is
having something like that in place just in case, because you never know.
This is really good information. And we're almost out of time on the Ask Carol Talk Show. Let's go back to Shay if we're seeing anything else in the comments, in the chat.
We are not seeing anything in the comments, but I think everybody just was taking in, because I know I am taking in everything that Tano said, because it is very, very valuable information.
Very valuable information indeed. I think we deserve a part two on this. This is really, as Shay says, valuable information. And so many of us are struggling in a time where the economy is so unpredictable, not only in America, but all over the world. A lot of people are suffering badly. So one last question before we wrap it up, Tana. Would you suggest taking money from your credit cards to pay another credit card bill?
It all depends on if you are within that time frame of the interest free period, right?
Mhm,
But again, you have to learn how to leverage it as a strategy. It's not something that, okay, yeah, I'm gonna borrow for one card and just pay this and let it be an every month kind of thing. No, you have to be strategic in how you're doing
mhm,
that, because you can, run yourself into a situation where you've taken money from this card. You thought that you would have had the money to go ahead and cover it, and then now you don't, and now you're utilizing that card. You get hit with a
mhm.
late payment. Yeah, you don't want those issues. So it can be done. It can be facilitated, but you want to utilize that as a strategy, not an everyday thing or everyday way of life. Where, yeah, I'm going to borrow from
Mhm,
this card to pay my mortgage, and I'm going to. Now
mhm,
there is instances that we'll get into. If we do a part two, where there's certain companies that you can link your credit card to, that you can pay these different monthly reoccurring transactions, and then it will help to build your even personal and business credit. So there's many different strategies that we provide that are out there. And I'll definitely look forward to coming back and revisiting some of these questions. And I've put my information in the chat. So if you guys would like to reach out, schedule a consultation with us, we're here for you. But it's been my absolute pleasure, Miss Carol, sharing this platform with you today. I know most people, when they meet you for the first time, they're like, "Shy, I don't know what to ask this guy, because I don't know if he's gonna want to be in my business like that." But listen, we trust me, we've been where you've been probably, and we've helped so many people that are where you are right now, that have moved on to many things. So it's definitely not something to frown upon where your current situation is, because it doesn't matter where you are right now, but it's all about where you're planning on going.
Absolutely. I love it. Good information, Tanner. It's been a pleasure. It's been amazing. We learned so much today on the Ask Carol Talk Show. If you would love to see a part two with Tanner and your credit ratings, show me some thumbs up, some hearts for part two in season three. We're coming up to season three. Have we seen anything, Shay? Yes, yes, yes. I see a
Yes,
heart.
yes, we are. This is much needed again, so I think it'll be wonderful to bring them back in season 3.
Awesome.
Love it, love it. Tanner, for those of us who are not reading the chat, can you just verbally tell us your website and your phone number to contact you?
Yes, it's 754-277-1044. That's my business line. Again, 754-277-1044. And you can reach me, send me an email at Tano, Tano, at A plus, and that's the letter A plus, creditreport.com.
Thank you so much. Check him out, guys. He will help you fix your credit. He will get you on the right track to even own your first home. So seek him out, call him, email, or check out the website. If you need help with your credit score, your credit ratings, he's the man, Tana Bogle, the one and only expert, certified credit analysis. What an amazing show on the Ask Carol. What an amazing episode on the Ask Carol Talk Show. Join us next week, guys. My special request on season one, they requested for your host with the most to be back with love and marriage. So
Awesome.
join us next week, September 13th, for a part two of Love and Marriage with your host. It's going to be a great show. Please like, share, subscribe. Go to our YouTube page. Go to our Instagram page at @AskCarol_TV on Instagram. On Facebook, it's Ask Carol. And check us out on YouTube. Share, like, and subscribe at Ask Carol. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining in. Thank you so much again. Join us next week, and we are going out with my rap. Are you ready? Here we go. Now, ask Carol anything, don't hold back. Real conversations on the right track. Real impact, no fluff, just fact. Ask Carol. We asked Carol today. We asked Tanner today about our credit. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Join us next week for another episode, Love and Marriage, on the Ask Carol Talk Show. Good night, everyone.